Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, we're taking a look at the recent updates from FTX, including the contagion of Voyager and BlockFi. If you've got assets on either of those, an update on that, plus some tone-deaf comments here from Kevin O'Leary.
If SPF knocked on your door again and said, look, I failed in my last venture, I have a new crypto venture, I need money, would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
Bringing you the latest updates in crypto land. So starting here with CoinGecko, BTC still under $17,000. Acceptance below this level looks rather ominous at this point. I'm also seeing World War III trending on my Twitter feed right now, and the S&P 500 has moved into a territory where it looks like it wants to dump next. Narrative of the day is Chili's. We have the FIFA World Cup starting next week, and they are the home of the official fan tokens. So Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary coming across rather tone deaf here in the market, saying he would back Sam Bankman-Fried again if he calls him up and asks for some funding. Also describing him as a Marmite character here. You either love him or hate him.
I think we can all admit, you can love him or hate him given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders in the crypto universe.
I really can't imagine who loves Sam Bankman-Fried at this moment in time, but it seems like old Kev here has some trust left in the Bankman. Now, meanwhile, in Samland, so we have a bit of a thrilling end to this tweet thread from Mr. SBF here. We got to 10 yesterday. My memory may be faulty in parts, but now we have posts 11 through 17 to get through here. So he says, I'll get to what happened, but for now, let's talk about where we are today. Alameda has more assets than liabilities month to month, but not liquid, trying to claim that they do have the funds, but in illiquid form. That is a very debatable subject. He lists the likes of Oxy, MAPS tokens, Serum as hundreds and even billions of dollars on the balance sheet under the assets column. Those are fully diluted valuations and all but play money at this point.
That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent's accounted for. Look, see this? That's a car. 275,000. Might want to hang on to that one.
He also notes that Alameda had margin position on FTX International. With that going out, of course, that wipes out some of Alameda's book, and FTX US had enough to repay all customers. Even now, withdrawals are closed. But he says, my one goal is to do right by customers now, and he's contributing where he can. He's meeting in person with regulators and working with the team to focus on customers, customer first being reiterated. His goal, hilariously, clean up and focus on transparency and make customers whole. I think this is pie in the sky stuff. A few weeks ago, FTX was handling $10 billion a day of volume and billions of transfers. But too much leverage and a bank run exhausted their finances pretty quickly. So what can I try to do? He says, raise liquidity, make customers whole, and restart. He wants to restart FTX. Maybe I won't get anything more for customers than what's already there. He then lists the current standings here, but as I say, with the fully diluted valuations of many of these crap coins coming into both his semi-liquid and illiquid breakdowns there, it doesn't take a mathematician to work out that these numbers just do not fly. Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin had a response to this, automatically downgrading every single thing SBF believed in is an error. It's important to actually think and figure out which things contributed to the fraud and which things didn't. Don't be the guy who would have tried to cancel vegetarianism in 1945. So this in a reference to effective altruism, the theory by which SBF and co apparently led their lives by, giving back to charities and making the world a better place, and he's certainly not lived by those standards. Coinbase's Brian Armstrong also weighing in. Twitter has broken just about every single piece of FTX story using blockchain analytics, while the New York Times is writing puff pieces on a criminal. Feels like a turning point for citizen journalism and a loss of trust in mainstream media. This after the story we covered yesterday, the New York Times not asking any of the tough questions to SBF in their interview and taking some form of empathetical approach to a man who has lost billions of dollars of customer deposits. Now, a good showcase of the on-chain data here is that of the FTX hacker. So remember, almost $400 million were pulled out of FTX when bankruptcy hit. Many believing this could be Sam and team actually starting to pull funds out. This FTX hacker is now the 35th largest holder of Ethereum. Ethereum. This as they've started to ship some of the funds directly into ETH itself, with an estimated fortune here of $288 million. So an on-chain sleuth here, Biosyn Alert, has been following all of these drained accounts. This was over 8 different wallets, and the sum total standing here a total of 228,523 Ethereum to the hacker, over 108,000 BNB tokens, over 1.6 million DAI, and large spatterings of Pax gold as well. So in total, $388 million worth of drained funds, and 288 mil worth is Ethereum. Now, off the back of FTX's collapse, we're seeing contagion in the market here. Some updates here for Voyager and BlockFi. This breaking from CoinDesk. After bankruptcy, FTX users claims pay cents on the dollar. So if you have money left on FTX or one of these distressed lenders, what could you potentially get here? Is there something to be salvaged?
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Well, one marketplace has tried to actually break this down and looked at claims. So damaged depositors of FTX can sell their credit claims, but they'll receive only a fraction of their holdings, says Cherokee Acquisition, a distressed asset investment firm. So their guide price for FTX claims is between 8 to 12 cents on the dollar, but this is for deposits over 100,000 USD. So your $100,000 now becomes 8 to 12,000 only. Now this is just estimates based on this company's marketplace, so don't take this as gospel. You can't take this home to the bank at this point, but there is a potential for you to sell your claims to some of these companies in this fashion if you don't want to wait out the lengthy court case that's going to happen. They've also put down estimates for Celsius Network to receive around 20 cents on the dollar if affected by that one, and for individuals with funds on Voyager Digital, they're recommending around 40 cents on the dollar for those claims. However, Thomas Brazil, a lawyer, said no one is buying at these prices. He argued the end amount would be closer to 3 to 5 cents only. So an update here on BlockFi, the distressed lender.
So what
BlockFi! Rocket ship, get on board!
According to Wall Street Journal breaking today, there's a possible for bankruptcy number 2 to be filed. They recently suspended all deposits and withdrawals. This was their November 14th update. The yellow bar, BlockFi is not able to operate business as usual. Within this update, they gave some hope, but to be honest with you, it even read quite bleakly. They pretty much said we will do what we can, and we are in talks with others about raising some finances potentially, but people were hopeful that this statement was true, that BlockFi assets were not custodied by FTX.
I am bullish, bullish, bullish.
And they finished up by saying our team is tirelessly working to our primary objective of maximizing value for all clients. Now this broke from a whistleblower over at BlockFi, stating that the only reason FTX bailed us out was to get our user funds onto their platform to use in their shell game. They applied immense pressure to get BlockFi funds migrated to FTX custody. Employees were told by execs not to ask questions about the move. So this seems to be a common theme here in crypto. The companies that FTX were investing in were told to get their funds onto the FTX exchange in some form or another. I recently covered the story behind Star Atlas, the Solana-based game. Check that out just above. And we're seeing more and more talk of this and a kind of pressure tactics by FTX to try and get funds onto their platform. So this would be no surprise and would be a key consideration as to why bankruptcy part 2 may follow here for BlockFi. Then over to an update on Voyager. So if we remember, FTX official had an agreement in place to buy the assets of Voyager Digital and hopefully provide some money back to Voyager creditors. However, with FTX going under and the terms of this deal was to be completed by the end of November, this has now not gone through, and they have reopened the bidding process and are in active discussions with alternative bidders. So potential silver lining here. Jason Choi over on Twitter put together a thread about FTX, and on the subject of Voyager, he said, why would FTX bid for Voyager when it itself is in a cash crunch? The response from Kristen here of Cross Tower, FTX did not bid $1.4 billion. In the public bid, FTX was putting up 51 mil in cash in exchange for $1.3 billion of Voyager's assets. FTX may well have bid to keep the FTT value up, and a nefarious theory is that FTX wanted to use 1.3 billion of Voyager customer funds to plug FTX's mounting hole. So again, we're seeing a very common theme here. Pull all the assets onto our balance sheet. Let's borrow against these. Let's look like the good guys, save the crypto markets. But in fact, they were playing this giant shell game. So comment down below, where does this leave us on the Wall Street cheat sheet? Have we just had the capitulation phase? Are we going through anger here? Or are we about to experience the last dip down before depression? Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.
I'm a paid spokesperson to FTX and a shareholder there too. Big advocate for Sam because he has two parents that are compliance lawyers. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX.
I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never.